Welcome to the 10-Minute Mind Shift Podcast. I'm your host, Janet Cagle, certified life coach, weight loss coach, and lover of all things related to upleveling my life and yours. My goal is to help you get one step closer to your goal, whatever it is. My goal is not to keep you wrapped up in self-help all day, just 10 minutes. And who doesn't have 10 minutes, right? Hey friend, welcome back. The week that this episode is originally published will be St. Patrick's Day week, and we humans love to celebrate the luck of the Irish in a big way. Celebrating this day conjures up the idea of being lucky. We see horseshoe type of decor all around us. We even wear green for luck. I don't even know what else we do off the top of my head, but luck is the top of mind with this holiday. I thought it would be fun to give you a reminder of 4 ways to create your own luck, and this is episode number 90. So let me ask you, are we feeling lucky, or are we feeling a little down on our luck? Check in with yourself. Do this every so often and see what comes up for you. And if you're feeling not so lucky, pop in this episode. When you describe your life to people, do you use words like fortunate, blessed, lucky? Or are we using words like unfortunate, cursed, unlucky? Really notice the words that you use to describe your life and you. What are the words and phrases and tone? Be really curious about the tone of your life as you live it and as you describe it to others. As the editor-in-chief of your life, you get to decide, and creating a life by design requires that you make edits. We are the ones that set that tone for and attract our good fortune to us. And the more we reflect on the misfortune, the more of that we attract to us. Have you ever noticed that? When I'm winding down the day and reflecting on what I loved about the day, I usually get a little of what I would call melancholy. Then my thoughts go to how fortunate and blessed Steve and I are. Some would even say that we are lucky. Over the last 20 years of marriage and 23 plus years of being together, I noticed that when we have discussions about things going on in our life, we never talk about our circumstances in terms of misfortune or bad luck. Even when we are talking about things like injury or illness or, this time of year, taxes. Our sentences always start out with, we are so lucky, or lucky for us that, or can you believe the luck of? That is exactly how we think and how we talk. I know that sometimes it's hard to feel lucky, especially with so much going on. And so in this episode, I'm going to give you the exact things that you can do today to create your own luck and good fortune, starting right now. Let's kick it off with a little quote by me. Luck does not discriminate. Luck is the residual of intentional thinking, aligned action, and meticulous mind management. Janet Cagle. We are the ones that set the tone for and attract our good fortune to us, and we attract our misfortune as well when we ruminate on them for so long. Now, I know none of us wakes up and starts manifesting a flat tire on the way to work or spilling coffee on yourself right before walking into a big meeting. And listen, stuff happens beyond our control all of the time, and it always will. The difference between someone we think of as being lucky and someone who feels like if they didn't have bad luck, they'd have no luck is, ready for it? The difference is in how they respond to and act in response to things happening outside of their control. That, my friend, is where you have all of the power to experience all of the luck. All right, so here we go. Number 1, intentional and purposeful thinking. Lucky people think intentional thoughts. How many of you catch yourself thinking, I just can't get a break, or things like this always happen to me, or just when I think I'm getting ahead, something happens to take it all away, or it figures this is just my luck. Listen, we are all human. Even my brain throws me those thoughts from time to time. But creating a life of balance and abundance and living a life by design requires that we catch ourselves and interrupt that thought model and do a thought edit. Because think about how those thoughts feel. Crappy, right? Imagine what kind of action You are fueling with those thoughts, right? Most likely inaction. These are exactly the kind of thoughts that have us throwing in the towel and going to bed with a box of ding-dongs, right? Remember, it's not that bad things don't happen to lucky people, but lucky people have a distinct way of looking at the circumstances, so they see all of their good fortune right in the midst of all of it. And I'm not talking about toxic positivity, and I'm not talking about putting lipstick on a pig. I'm talking about choosing how you experience your life intentionally. So most of you know by now that my husband Steve had a serious life-threatening medical emergency about 15 months ago now. And when we were faced with the reality of what was happening, we had a rush of emotions. We were scared of the idea of what we thought was happening. And at the same time, we were hopeful that we could get him help on time. We were terrified and confident at the same time. As traumatic as that event was, the first thing that we said when we started talking about it was how lucky for all of us that these people decided years ago to sacrifice their time and their money and all of their efforts so that they could be present on this day to save his life. The thoughts that you think create the energy in which you move through your life. The energy in which you move through your life is what attracts your life to you. The energy of, I can't catch a break, or if it weren't for bad luck, is the story that you take into your future, and that's what you will recreate more of. Being lucky does not mean that you are exempt from a life of 50-50, but you face it with all of the intentional energy of how you want to experience your life, even the bad stuff. All right, so number 2, take action. Lucky people make things happen. They are not sitting on the couch hoping for their life to somehow become extraordinary. They are actionators. I don't even know if that's a word, but it should be. They aren't waiting to be in the mood to move. They just decide, they just do, and they get results. That's it. They don't tell themselves a story. They aren't motivated, so they must wait on motivation. They don't entertain the notion that they lack discipline, and they don't buy into the story that they can't focus. They decide, they do, they get. Now, that's not to say that lucky people don't fail a lot. Lucky people fail all the time. I have said at least 1,000 times that I'm so lucky to have Dutch as my dressage partner, but here is the deal. He's not a perfect horse, and I'm not a perfect rider. In order to perfect our elements, we must be willing to be bad first, and then we work on getting better. I bet I have asked for 100 counter canners, and for the most part, they are dreadful, but occasionally we get a good one. I soften the reins 1,000 times during a lesson just to get a few supple strides. In the grand scheme of things, we will always be tipping the scale on the side of fail as we attempt successful execution of our elements. Lucky people are not afraid to fail hundreds of times in the process of creating their outcome. There is a direct correlation between the harder you work, the luckier you get. All right, number 3, be curious. Lucky people are curious about how, but not emotionally attached to the how. Lucky people don't have to know how before they take action. They just know the what. They know what they want, and they stay focused on that. Here's what's so fascinating about how our brain works. As soon as we commit to something, our brain starts showing us all of the possibilities and the opportunities. If we are willing to stay open to all of them, we will figure it out. In the beginning, all we have is our instinct, and we have to use that to determine which path might be the right way. A lucky person isn't sidelined if that path doesn't work out. They just look for the next opportunity and take that path. When we get emotionally tied to how we're going to do this and how it's going to unfold, we miss out on the things the universe is available to teach us on our journey. For example, last year, as soon as I wanted to go for my second level scores, it was 2 weeks out of the saddle, and every moment I can ride is important to me. My brain works like yours, so when I noticed the thought, well, isn't this just my luck? Or I should have known, I went to work on those thoughts. Instead of feeling sidelined and derailed, I got curious about another path. I discovered the magic of working him on the ground, at liberty. This work has added depth to our connection, and I found a new way to gain confidence and keep things moving forward. I would not have known any of that if he had stayed rideable. All right, finally, number 4, be flexible. Lucky people are flexible and they are resilient. I think of Thomas Edison and his famous quote, "I have not failed, I just found 10,000 ways that don't work." Can you imagine if he was not flexible in changing his approach? Imagine if he had an ego that was offended every time he tried something that didn't work. That really is the epitome of a lucky person, the resilience and the flexibility, the not getting emotionally attached to how, for sure. He didn't know how until he did know how. He didn't sit on the couch waiting to be inspired or motivated. He took action. He didn't let failure define him. He learned each time. So many times when we face an obstacle, we look at it as a sign we have taken a wrong turn or that we shouldn't be pursuing our goal after all. Trust me, my brain throws me those thoughts too, all the time. All of those thoughts are just for your consideration, and there are several other thoughts available to you that are much more productive and creative and high-octane fuel. An obstacle is an opportunity to flex your flexibility muscle, to practice resilience, to learn a new approach. It's an opportunity to stretch yourself in a way that maybe otherwise you wouldn't. For sure, an obstacle does not mean that you are not lucky. It means that you are in the arena. If you've been feeling a little down in your luck, give this episode a few listens and implement some of these notions and see if your luck doesn't start changing. Luck is always and always has been available to you, my friend, and now you know how. All right, that is what I have for you this week, and I wish you all the luck of the Irish, and now go have the best week ever. That's a wrap. I hope that you were able to experience a mind shift of your own today. Listen, if you love this podcast, you should totally check out my Life by Design 6-week boot camp. It's a work at your own pace workshop and something that you can do over and over and over again to uplevel your results. If a one-on-one coaching program is more your jam, I am all in. Just shoot me an email and get ready for a transformation at the speed of life.